Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with this morning's headlines. Narendra Modi's government completes 1 year in office. BJP to mark event as Jan Kalyan Parv. 2-day emergency session of the Delhi Assembly. Discussion on centre's notification curbing Chief Minister's powers on bureaucratic appointments. Decision likely on challenging decree in court. Switzerland makes names of Swiss bank account holders public to Indian women among several foreign nationals named. They have 30 days to appeal before details are shared with Indian authorities. Heat wave deaths on the rise, 550 killed in several parts of the country. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana worst hit. And UN appeals for Nepal quake victims, says world needs to provide more food and aid to those left homeless. Well, the Narendra Modi-led NDA government completes 1 year in office today. This day in 2014, Modi was administered the oath of office after a landslide victory in the general elections a few days earlier. The BJP plans to celebrate the day as Jan Kalyan Parv. It is part of the massive outreach program that the party is conducting to highlight the achievements of the central government. The Prime Minister addressed a series of rallies planned as a part of the occasion in Mathura yesterday. Well, the NDA government's 1 year in office marks some important changes in the economic field. The government was able to turn around the economy and contain price rise and pass some important legislations as well. As per the latest data released this month, the centre has also been able to contain the fiscal deficit and revenue deficit a little below than budget targets. Here's a look at how the government performed to revive a lagging economy in the last 1 year.
There was a general environment of gloom. उसके स्थान पर एक उत्साह का माहौल देश में बना है.
Finance Minister's confident words were based on the fact that the new government was able to change the perception of policy paralysis during the last leg of UPA2 regime. A fact that was also recognized by credit rating agencies and US President Barack Obama, who hailed Prime Minister Narendra Modi for shaking up India's bureaucratic inertia.
Decisiveness, even in the face of obstructionism, has been an important hallmark as far as this government is concerned.
The Finance Minister's charge of obstructionism was rebutted by principal opposition party Congress. Jaitley's predecessor P. Chidambaram squarely blamed BJP during the UPA2 regime for stalling key legislations.
In fact, it was Mr. Arun Jaitley who in a speech in London and repeated on another occasion said, obstructionism is a legitimate parliamentary tactic. But we are not obstructing. Did we obstruct the insurance bill? They obstructed the insurance bill for 5 successive sessions.
However, in terms of certain economic conditions, the NDA government seems to be fortune's favourite or plain lucky. Due to demand-supply situation, prices of crude oil fell from a high of $110 a barrel to $50 to $60 a barrel in just 6 months last year. It had a dramatic impact on inflation and government finances, particularly high current account deficit. Wholesale inflation fell to minus 2.65% in April this year, as against a high of over 5.5% during the same month last year. To its credit, the government successfully conducted auction proceeds for coal mines, which are expected to be over 3.5 lakh crore rupees, and for telecom spectrum it is around 1.1 lakh crore rupees. On legislative front, NDA was able to pass insurance bill to increase FDI cap in the sector to 49%, amendments to Companies Bill of 2014, Black Money Bill, and also the Coal Mines Bill and the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Bills. However, 2 crucial bills, one on land acquisition and another on a common goods and services tax, are still stuck.
We have brought both states on board. The Lok Sabha has cleared it. It's before the Rajya Sabha. I hope it should be cleared very soon.
While expressing the support for the GST bill, Congress accused the government of bypassing the parliament.
The members of parliament felt that this is an important constitutional amendment. It deserves to go to a standing committee. all bills must go to a standing committee. In fact, it is this government which is bypassing the standing committee.
Government also extended reach of financial inclusion by opening over 15 crore basic bank accounts under Jan Dhan Yojana. More than 7 crore people subscribe basic pension services launched this month. But the situation may change this year, as India is staring at an unprecedented agrarian crisis on the back of unseasonal rains that destroyed rabi crops. Possibility of a weak monsoon complicates the problem. Crude prices have also firmed up by around 30% in last few months. Any delay in passing the crucial bills like GST may hurt the investor sentiment and evaporate early gains. Puts from Vishal Daya, Krishnan Tripaঠি's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, of course, some of the biggest promises made by Narendra Modi as he began his stint were for the social sector. But as Modi's government turns one, there is still a lot to be done as far as the sector is concerned. And to talk about it, I have with me a senior journalist. Joining me on the program is Rahul Dev. Rahul, good morning. Thank you for joining me on the program. As far as the social sector is concerned, how would you rate the performance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government thus far?
Social sector actually is the weakest point of this government, and I and others have given them very handsome marks on the initiatives relating to economic reforms and economic issues, to manufacturing, for social security also, to provide social security to the disadvantaged sections of the people. But two sectors which are extremely critical to any wide national resurgence, education and health, have not received as much attention and as much action, I would say, as one would have liked them to. And I think it is now time to stress on both these and related issues after having laid down the foundation for economic resurgence and growth.
You know, there have been cuts in budgetary allocations as far as the social sector is concerned. Several Congress leaders have come out and said that, you know, the budget has been slashed by 1.75 crore rupees. How serious really is the government as far as this sector itself is concerned?
I would say the government is not serious. They ought to be serious, because this is the government and this is the party which said in its manifesto that education is the biggest tool of development, of growth, the biggest weapon against poverty. So they realize, I think, the importance of both health and education, but inexplicably the budget cuts in both these sectors have been there, and there is about 20% budget cuts. On the other hand, some schemes, and I particularly want to name the Swachh Bharat Yojana, the cleanliness drive, as an extremely important and critical and long delayed initiative at the central level. It is a major, it was a major lacuna in our national consciousness, and Narendra Modi personally has elevated this issue to the nation's consciousness and made it, sought to make it, turn it into a social revolution as well as government revolution. But it also remains a fact that the enthusiasm and action on this front have flagged of late. So the initiative has been extremely good and very welcome, but the continued importance and stress and action with a clear roadmap for the future, so that the benefits of cleanliness, reduction in open defecation,
right,
the reduction in pollution of our rivers and waters and soil that goes down and in a regular manner, that has not been seen. So social sectors has been a weak point, I would
Indeed.
say, put
So,
together.
social sector has been a weak point is something that you're saying and reiterating, but we have prepared a report on the performance of the government over the last 1 year as far as the social sector is concerned. Let's take a look at that now and see it in detail.
As the Modi government completes 1 year in office, there are increased fears of unfulfilled promises as far as the social sector is concerned. The BJP's election manifesto last year focused on some key areas in the social sector. It gave an assurance of health to all, strengthening school education, a mission against poverty and malnutrition, universal food security, and a program for women's health care.
These need to be looked at by the government and supported and actually implemented properly, and they need to put in place a framework so that health facilities, social security facilities and schemes that the government is running function properly.
Even as the government made these announcements, there were cuts in budgetary allocations.
Especially if you look at what is being invested by the government in schemes for the poor and the marginalized, including women and children. We've seen huge cuts. You can't be making 54% cut in a scheme like ICDS.
The ambitious National Health Assurance Mission alone is estimated to cost $25.5 billion over 4 years. The scheme was to start in April 2015, but is yet to take off. Another casualty of budget cuts is Manrega.
But when you convert that good schemes like employment of last resort or such things at the ground level, that governance failure, that has created fuss or mess at the ground level. So the restructuring of those schemes is one of the priorities now.
The allocation for the education sector came down to just a little over 69,000 crore rupees this year from the earlier 70,505 crore rupees in 2014-15. Though higher education sector saw 22% boost in allocation, elementary and secondary education was left to battle for allocation. Anshu J. Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Rahul, coming back to you now, of course, schemes such as the Manrega and several other schemes, of course, were part of the UPA regime. So those schemes too have not been given the kind of support that is really required. But apart from that, there were several flagship programs that were, brought up or that were listed in the BJP's manifesto. Now, those programs or schemes are yet to kick off. What's really causing the delay?
You see, we have to remember that this is only the first year. They have just completed 1 year. So we have to keep in mind and keep a historical perspective that problems that have dogged the nation for 68 years and a solution has not been found, despite central governments enjoying 2 terms, 10 years at a stretch or even more than that in the past. We can't expect realistically speaking, any new government to fulfill all the promises in its first year. While it's important to focus on action taken, action not taken, areas where there is good movement, areas which have been weak, it's bound to be so. So, if you ask this government, why haven't you done this or why haven't you done that, you have to ask the previous government also that you had 10 years. And why are the numbers so huge? Numbers of people left out of Manrega, the leakages in Manrega, and I believe so far as Manrega is concerned, the allocation has not been cut. The allocation actually has gone up a little. I don't have the figures right now with me. So, you have to, I would give this government good marks for trying many things and being active. And you have to give it to the Prime Minister that maybe he's not been supported equally well by his ministerial colleagues, and that happens because everyone is not on the same page in any government. But the effort to take initiatives, to do big ticket at least some reforms, to create a sense of urgency and action and responsibility, accountability, I would suggest that we also look at these things. Of course, there are lacunae. Of course, there are gaps in the performance. They'll always remain there. But we have to be realistic. This is only the first year of a government and of a Prime Minister who was the chief minister till the other day.
All right, Rahul, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us there with all those details and putting things into perspective for us. Wait and watch is the verdict given there by our expert. Here's a quick look now at what else is lined up for the day today in our segment, The Day Ahead. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch India's first 24/7 farmer-centric channel, DD Kisan, today. It will be a must-carry channel for all DTH operators across India. The channel will telecast programs that would primarily focus on the agriculture sector and rural India. Information related to weather will also be given. After the official launch, the channel will start telecast from 4 p.m. today. After Prime Minister Modi's mega rally in Mathura on Monday, BJP President Amit Shah will launch the party's plan to hold 200 big rallies from Karnal district in Haryana. It's being done as part of the first anniversary of the Modi government at the centre. The BJP President will address the media at the party headquarters in Delhi before heading to Karnal. Hearing in the defamation case against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal filed by Union Minister Nitin Gadkari will be taken up in the Delhi High Court today. In its last hearing, Kejriwal had told the court that he was yet to decide on whether to pursue his case against the trial court's decision of sending him to jail. He had sought more time from the court as his advocate Prashant Bhushan was no longer representing him. Hearing in the AIPMT paper leak case will resume in the Supreme Court today. A vacation bench of the Apex Court will hear a batch of petitions filed by some of the candidates seeking a re-exam as the first one was marred by paper leak and irregularities. In its last hearing, the top court had ruled that reconduct of the AIPMT would be the last resort. More than 6 lakh students appeared in the exam for 2,500 medical seats across the country. Representatives of all major trade unions in the country will meet in Delhi today to chalk out the next phase of action, including a strike against the alleged anti-labour policies being adopted by the NDA government. Leaders of BJP-backed Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh will also participate in today's convention. A formal announcement regarding a day-long strike on September 2nd is also likely. German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen will arrive in Delhi today on a 3-day visit. Her visit seeks to deepen bilateral ties besides focusing on regional and international security and defense issues. On the first leg of her visit, Leyen will hold bilateral talks with her counterpart Manohar Parrikar in Delhi. She will also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and meet Deputy Congress leader in the Rajya Sabha Anand Sharma. It's time for a short break now, but still to come. Delhi High Court hears Greenpeace India's plea challenging its account freeze by the government. Details after this break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
आजादी के बाद कैसे बदला परिवेश, कैसे बनी संसद, कैसे उठा देश।
When the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
कौन थे वो लोग जो दे गए हमको शानदार विरासत, लोकतंत्र की मजबूत इमारत। राज्यसभा टेलीविजन।
Back, you're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, a 2-day emergency session of the Delhi State Assembly begins today, and the Arvind Kejriwal government is taking its fight with the centre forward in this session. The Assembly will discuss the centre's notification curbing several of its powers. The Home Ministry had issued the notification giving absolute powers in appointment of bureaucrats to the Lieutenant Governor. The Delhi government is expected to decide whether to take the legal route to challenge the notification. A resolution against the decree will be passed at the end of the session. The standoff between the Delhi Chief Minister and the Lieutenant Governor as well as the centre broke out over the appointment of Shakuntala Galim as the acting Chief Secretary of the capital. Meanwhile, Arvind Kejriwal held his first open cabinet on Monday on the completion of 100 days in power. He said that his government is only focusing at the moment on delivering 11 of the 70 promises they made at the time of elections. Kejriwal, along with his entire cabinet, took questions from the public on various issues. He, however, said that he is presently fighting with the centre to get powers for Delhi so that he can work independently. On the issue of statehood, Kejriwal said that he could not put a time frame to realizing it. The opposition called the exercise a waste of money.
तो एक्सटॉर्शनिस्ट करप्शन में बहुत भारी कमी आई है। मुझे लगता है अगर हमने 80-90% करप्शन भी कम कर दिया तो ये भारत के इतिहास में एक बहुत बड़ा काम होगा।
मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि दिल्ली की सरकार के 100 दिन विवादों के थे और विवाद, मीडिया के साथ विवाद, अधिकारियों के साथ विवाद, अपनी ही पार्टी में विवाद, पार्टी के 2 फाड़ हो गए, उपराज्यपाल के साथ विवाद।
Moving on now, the Delhi High Court will take up a plea by NGO Greenpeace India challenging the government's decision to suspend its license and freeze its bank accounts. The High Court had served a notice to the centre over the plea asking whether funds of Greenpeace's domestic accounts can be released for its day-to-day running, including for paying salaries of its volunteers. It also asked Greenpeace to file an affidavit indicating details of its day-to-day functioning expenses, including salaries to be paid to the NGO's volunteers or workers. In April, the Home Ministry suspended the official registration for foreign funding of Greenpeace India for 6 months and froze 7 domestic bank accounts connected with the organization, accusing the environmental watchdog of misusing funds. Well, temperatures are soaring in several parts of the country and the death toll due to severe heat conditions has climbed up to 550. The Met Department predicts that there is no respite in sight anytime soon.
There seems to be no respite from the heat wave, as the Met Department has predicted similar conditions for the next 2 weeks. In the worst affected states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, the death toll from the intense heat has risen to 470. The state government has announced an aid of 1 lakh rupees for the families of victims of heat wave. The Met Department says that the relief in the coming days would be temporary.
Heat wave conditions are continuing in both states. So it will further continue today and tomorrow also. This type of heating will continue till the onset of monsoon over our states.
Heat wave claimed 28 lives in Odisha, where the temperature has been recorded between 40 to 46 degrees Celsius in the past few days. On Monday, the mercury soared to 45.4 degrees Celsius in the capital Bhubaneswar.
We have received information about death of 28 persons in the state due to heat wave. In 8 cases, final reports have come from the collectors. 3 have been confirmed to be death due to heat stroke.
Mercury in Delhi breached the 45.5 degree mark on Monday, making it the hottest day of the season so far, 5 degrees above the normal temperature. However, there can be some respite from the sweltering heat today, as the weatherman has predicted dust storm and thunderstorm. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Well, it's time for a short break now, but still to come, 19 policemen and 7 soldiers killed in a siege at a police compound in southern Afghanistan. Details on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
आजादी के बाद कैसे बदला परिवेश, कैसे बनी संसद, कैसे उठा देश।
When the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
कौन थे वो लोग जो दे गए हमको शानदार विरासत, लोकतंत्र की मजबूत इमारत। राज्यसभा टेलीविजन।
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Switzerland has begun revealing names of Indians who have Swiss bank accounts and are wanted for tax fraud back home. Names of 2 Indian women have been published by Switzerland in its official gazette along with scores of other foreign nationals. The Swiss authority has now asked them to file an appeal within 30 days before the Federal Administrative Court if they do not want their details to be shared with the Indian authorities under their Mutual Assistance Treaty on tax matters. The revelation by Switzerland comes close on the heels of a meeting between Swiss Economic Affairs Minister Johann Schneider-Ammann and his Indian counterpart Arun Jaitley. Schneider had assured full support to India in its fight against black money. He even said that the Swiss Parliament would consider amendment of its laws with regard to sharing information on the basis of stolen data. Some more international news now. Taliban fighters have killed 19 policemen and 7 soldiers in a siege at a police compound in southern Afghanistan. The siege is ongoing inside the police compound in Nozad in the north of Helmand province. Police said that the terrorists had advanced to within 65 feet of the compound after seizing police vehicles and weapons and blocking all roads out of Nozad. The attack started before dawn when the terrorists overran multiple police checkpoints across the district. The province of Helmand has long been a Taliban stronghold. The Taliban launched an offensive in the region after US troops left the region in June last year. Let's bring you up to date with the other international news in our segment World Wrap. A month after the devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit Nepal, the United Nations has said that the world needs to provide more food aid and shelter for those left homeless. A UN official said that there is still a need to focus on providing relief rather than reconstruction. More than 8,000 people died in the disaster and many remained homeless. At least 13 people have been killed and dozen others injured by a tornado that hit the northern Mexico border city of Ciudad Acuna on Monday. Hundreds of homes have been damaged or destroyed in the city. Images from the scene showed cars upended and leaning against buildings. Officials have warned that the death toll could rise. Authorities said that the death toll in Acuna could rise once all agencies had finished their search. The Saudi-led airstrike continued on Monday in Yemen, hitting Houthi targets as well as a house belonging to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh's eldest son. Witnesses said that heavy smoke rose after rockets hit Ahmed Abdullah Saleh's house, which is located in the southern part of Sana'a. Former President Saleh has been accused of supporting the Houthis in the capital Sana'a and several other Yemeni cities. No casualties have been reported so far. 8 inmates were killed in a prison riot in Feira de Santana in Brazil on Monday. One of them reportedly decapitated while at least 5 others were injured. The brawling inmates, reportedly armed with knives and handguns, held about 70 people hostage overnight as they negotiated with police to end the violence. Police and Human Rights Commission negotiated for the release of the hostages. Well, let's bring you up to date with some sports news now in our sports beat. Fourth seed Tomas Beric defeated Japanese qualifier Yoshihito Nishioka 6-0, 7-5, 6-3 in the first round of the French Open on Monday. Nishioka was one of 3 Japanese men to lose, leaving only the 5th seed Kei Nishikori still involved in the men's singles. The left-handed Nishioka, who retired ill in the first round of the last year's US Open, his only previous major appearance, did however recover from a disastrous start to put up a spirited fight against Czech star. And American Serena Williams continued to lead the Women's Tennis Association singles rankings published on Monday with 9,361 points. The week's ranking stayed intact with Russia's Maria Sharapova in second place with 7,710 points, followed by Romanian Simona Halep in third place with 7,360 points. That's it on this edition of the Bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.